Hello everyone and welcome to Punk Lotto Pod, the game where no one wins. I'm your co-host Justin Hensley.
I'm your other co-host Dylan Hensley.
And this is the show where using a random number generator and the Rate Your Music punk charts, we pick a year and an album and EP from said year to discuss. Do we have any small talk? Did you do anything this week?
Nothing too crazy. Been jamming with a drummer a couple times. Gonna probably meet up again with him today, see if we can get a bass player in there. So some progress there. I sold a project guitar on the internet.
Oh, you sold it?
So I gotta package that up and get it out the door.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I finished Christmas shopping, which is great. I don't think I've ever finished this early.
I still need to do some Christmas shopping. There's our Christmas filler.
Yeah,
for the episode.
Well, this is a post-Christmas episode anyway.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully everyone had a good Christmas, seeing as this is now going up the day after Christmas.
Still technically Christmas.
I mean, most people are back to work. Well, a lot of people are back to work day after Christmas.
A lot of people work on Christmas.
Yeah, it's true. So we're about a week and a half away from Christmas here, so when we're recording this, so
yeah, it's gonna be really confusing. Man, it's the 26th and this guy hasn't even started Christmas shopping. It's fine. There's 12 more days of Christmas. And get that partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, went to a record store to get Christmas presents, and that's about it. Like, nothing really exciting. Well, I saw 3 movies this week in the theaters.
What movies?
Green Room. No, not Green Room. Why do I always want to call it Green Room? I wish I saw Green Room in the theaters. That'd be awesome. No, Green Book, the one with Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali. I think that's how you say his name. Mm-hmm. It's really good. It's just like
Viggo Mortensen.
It's like Driving Miss Daisies, except the driver and passenger are race reversed. So, it's set in the 60s. So, but it's good. Weirdly directed by Peter Farrelly from the Farrelly Brothers.
Weird.
Yeah, it's like straight up like drama, sort of. It's got funny moments, but it's not one of their dumb comedies.
Yeah.
I also saw Boy Erased, which is the movie about the gay conversion therapy.
Yeah.
Directed by Joel Edgerton, which it was really good. It's probably the best movie I saw this week. And then last night I saw Can You Ever Forgive Me, the Melissa McCarthy movie, where she's a forger.
Oh, yeah. That one actually looked decent. How was it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's weird. All 3 of the movies, I believe, were true stories.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny. And then I'm going to try and go see Into the Spider-Verse tonight. So. Oh,
yeah.
We got your 3 Oscar-type movies, and then you got a Spider-Man movie.
Cartoon Spider-Man movie.
Hey, it might, from what I've heard, it may be the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured. Like, they really should just make superhero movies as cartoons.
Yeah,
like,
they should.
It's a comic book. I mean, it just makes more sense to animate it. I mean, unfortunately, that means, like, it's got to all be computer animated because that's the only style of animation anyone does anymore.
Yeah.
Which
this one seems very stylized, so I'm looking forward to that. And it's I don't know that it's directed by Lord and Miller, but it's the guys that did Lego Movie. So
yeah, they're involved.
It seems like they're the only like kids movie directors / producers who try and put style in their movies. So because this one looks like it's gonna have like it'll like look like a classic coloring in a comic book with like the dot.
Yeah, like the 4-way color process and
and
the what do you call it? Halftone.
Yeah. Well, there's been movie roundup. Nothing too punk.
Watch any good wrestling lately? Let's talk about everything other than.
I watched a little
Punk
Lucha
records.
Libre last night. That was pretty good. I watched Puma King versus Pentagon Jr. That was pretty cool.
Who was the cat guy was that Puma King that you sent me a picture of?
That's Puma King. He's this really big guy for a luchador, and he definitely like does cat-like things in the ring. Like, he goes all in on the gimmick.
Well, it's
way
like
more. What?
No, go ahead.
He goes way more in the gimmick than like any other cat-based wrestler usually does.
Well, it's like Battle Cat. The two different guys that played Battle Cat, they were just like really big guys, and they were doing like cat-like moves. I love that costume, that cat mask.
Yeah. So cool.
Well, do we want to talk about our records? Let's talk about 2002.
Yes. I feel like we might have more to say than, well, at least for one of these records. Yeah, so we drew the year 2002, and as usual, we like to look at the punk charts and try and figure out what trends were going on in that year and what, how our main albums tie into the trends that fit in with the year. And actually, this year, for our full length, it definitely ties in because this is the year it looks like emo blew up, or what the mainstream version of what people think emo is.
Emo. We need like an emo foghorn sound effect that we can play anytime we talk about.
So this is the year where Glassjaw's Worship and Tribute came out.
Yeah.
It's something.
That's a record.
We've got Me Without You's A.B. Life. Kicked off their little...
Well, that's the first album. That's the first Me Without You album.
First full length, yeah. They have 2 EPs before.
Yeah. Nobody listens.
No.
We got Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah. I
really don't like Taking Back Sunday.
I really dislike Taking Back Sunday. And they're not a band... Like, I hated them then, and they're not a band that I have, like, gone back and been like, oh, they weren't as bad as I remember. No, I still don't like Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah.
Most of the others I'm not as, like, hard on as I used to be, but... Not TBS.
They were legitimately a bad band.
People love that record, though.
Yeah. But they were into it then. That's the thing.
True.
We got Satellite Years by Hope's Fall.
That's way up there for Hope's Fall.
This is after they dropped the periods at the beginning and end of their name.
and it helped them out so much.
Hope's Fall.
There's Thrice's The Illusion of Safety. Is that before Artist in the Ambulance, or is that the one after?
I want to say that's before Artist in the Ambulance. So that's not exactly the big one.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Hopping over to... Oh, there's Piebalds. We Are the Only Friends We Have. I have no idea how to classify that album, because it doesn't fall in with the rest of the emo stuff, but it doesn't fit in with, like, for lack of a better term, the orgcore punk stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Piebald has always kind of just been Piebald. I mean, even their, like, earlier emo stuff was not easily compared to other emo bands.
Yeah.
I feel like they just kind of, you could just generally call them like an indie punk band. Indie rock band. I don't know.
Yeah. The very first Alexis on Fire album came out that year, which introduced us all to Dallas Green.
Yep.
Mr. City Color.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a Poison the Well record and the Used self-titled. I mean, this is, Finch, What It Is to Burn. This is the year. I mean, this is the emo, screamo.
Ground Zero for...
yeah, it is the year from which all the ships were launched.
Yeah, it's for better or worse. Mainly worse, but yeah, it's not... that trend kind of killed what people thought emo... I don't know, it's ruined what everyone thinks emo is. Because for the most part, none of these bands are really emo bands. Very few of them are.
Yeah.
They're like post-hardcore, kind of heavier pop punk.
Yeah.
Any other big trends in 2002? It looks like...
I mean, you've got your things shifting towards like a Gainesville orgcore punk sound with like Against Me, and Hot Water pretty much going mainstream with
Caution,
with Caution.
their worst album.
Yeah, and
first Latterman album, Lawrence Arms, Agony and Apathy, D4's Situationist Comedy.
Yeah, so you've got a little bit of a Midwest punk and a little bit of a Florida punk and a little bit of a, what is it, Long Island?
With Latterman. Yeah, this bike is a pipe bomb, kind of kicks off the folk punk thing there.
Yeah.
And then Screamo seems to be, I don't know if this is like, what, the end of it? Sort of the, or this is the peak of like early 2000s Screamo with City of Caterpillar, Orchid, Funeral Diner, the Page 99 Majority Rule split.
Yeah, this is kind of the end, because that was that one City of Caterpillar record. That was the last Orchid record that came out that year. That was the, that Page 99 split. That was very close to the end of their career. So it's kind of the end of that turn of the millennium Screamo.
Mm-hmm. Which this emo trend would then pick up the term and run with it, and now no one knows what Screamo is for mainstream. I know people into punk rock understand the difference now, but it's...
Yeah, and we can talk a little more about that when we talk about our album, because I have some thoughts on that in relation to this record. So,
well, you want to jump into the actual albums then?
Yeah, I mean, the only other trend is like that sort of the Interpol thing shifting towards the mainstream.
There's a Vines record on there,
and then there's some of the garagey stuff too, which I think informs our EP a little bit, but it's not very prominent.
Yeah, I feel like that may have been the years following more of an influence on than.
Yeah, but pretty much everybody went all in on emo.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we got number 82 on the punk album chart, and it is My Chemical Romance. I brought you my bullets, you brought me your love. Let's just run through some of the basics on this real quick. They're from Newark, New Jersey.
I didn't know they were from... How did I not know they were from New Jersey?
I didn't either until I read that. And with one of their biggest... I feel like one of their biggest influences was Saves the Day on this album.
Yeah, I can see that.
With the Jersey connection. Because there's a couple tracks on this album that are just like straight up Saves the Day songs.
Yeah.
Mainly Drowning Lessons, and then there's another song a little bit further into the album. It's just like a fast pace, like kind of Lifetimey Jersey pop punk, hardcore punk thing with bad vocals. It was released on Eyeball Records, which is such a weird label. What did they put out?
Weird. They did like Thursday Records, but they also did like Murder by Death.
Yeah.
So it was owned by Mark Debiak, Alex Saavedra, and Thursday's Jeff Rickley.
Yeah, who also produced this album.
Yeah.
Because they had like made friends with Thursday. What else? Yeah, it is a strange label because they did the trendy stuff like My Chemical Romance and Midtown.
What did they release by Gaslight Anthem?
I see that too. I don't know what it was.
Doesn't sound right at all. Was it Senor and the Queen?
I don't know. I think Wikipedia actually is the worst place to look for record label information, so I'm going to go to Discogs. Okay, so yeah, they did number 12 Looks Like You, which was weird. I wrestled a bear once.
So Wikipedia is mistakenly categorizing the Gaslight Anthem as having been on Eyeball Records because they were signed but didn't release anything.
Weird.
I think is what seems to be what happened, and it was probably even pre-Gaslight Anthem. So
yeah, I don't know. They would do like trendy bands, and then they would also put stuff out like The Casting Out and Astronautilus, and
yeah,
it's kind of a weird label. I don't think they exist anymore. They have a Mile Marker album.
They did it seems like they did something by Game Face.
Yeah,
and like H2O.
Yeah, and The Casualties. And an I Hate God compilation. It's a weird label.
Zoloft, the rock and roll destroyer.
Yeah.
It's supposedly something by Mile Marker.
Yeah, Omnity or something like that.
Well, so Eyeball Records did do that. United Nations. They did something by United Nations, but that's Jeff Rickley. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they had some of those other bands like Number 12 Looks Like You, and
I mean, they did put out a Thursday album or two.
So
let's jump. The personnel on the album is Gerard Way on vocals, Ray Toro and Frank Iero on guitars, Mikey Way on bass, and Matt Pellissier on drums. Frank Iero only plays on like one or two tracks on the album because he wasn't a full member of the band yet.
Oh, interesting.
Because he had joined the band like 3 months before they recorded the album. And it's actually really crazy. This is the first thing My Chemical Romance ever released. There's no EPs or singles or splits that came out before this album. They also only formed in 2001. So in under a year, they formed the band and released their full-length album. And it totally sounds like a brand new band that does not know what they sound like yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely kind of all over the place here.
Yeah, it's a lot of different types of things going on here. Like, well, number one, very little emo. Like, there's like one song that you could call like an emo song, and it was like the really slow one with like jangly guitar riffs, and the rest is just like a pop punk album with some like post-hardcore elements, like on not the opening track, but the first song on the album.
Yeah,
which that reminded me of He Is Legend song, weirdly.
Well, okay, so there was like a weird thing about this record. There are a lot of like At the Gates riffs. Did you notice that? There's like a it comes up a couple times. There's some stuff that if you sped it up and you like, yeah, if you played it faster, it would sound like Darkest Hour. Like just a lot of like,
yeah,
just those At the Gates Gothenburg,
yeah, like that song Vampire
metal riffs.
Oh, this album has some of the dumbest song titles on it. Which, did they start that stupid trend?
I don't know. I mean, they definitely went with like the gothy stuff.
Vampires Will Never Hurt You. Honey, This Mirror Isn't Big Enough for the Two of Us.
When did the first Fall Out Boy record come out?
That came out after this one.
Yeah.
One of these songs sounds like a fucking ska song. It's like I don't know, it felt like a bunch of mall goths playing ska, like without any horns. Headfirst for Halos, that's the song. And it's like one of the songs people love the most. It's just like, what are you doing? Yeah, there's Gerard Way sounds like he's out of breath on every song.
Well, so he actually recorded his vocals with a dental abscess.
Those little corn teeth?
So he was screaming these songs with like probably throbbing pain in his mouth. I would not try to record a record with an abscess. I've had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I think his vocal performance can be given a little credit.
Yeah.
Considering, but he does some things on here that weirdly remind me of more traditional screamo. I mean, not just like the higher pitched screechy stuff that he does. Because I didn't realize how much he like full on screamed in the early stuff. I always just figured it was kind of just his cat wailing sounds, but he also does some like City of Caterpillar-ish.
Yeah.
Like vocal warble.
I was trying to find what their influences actually were.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at like the Wikipedia and what they say their influences are, is like the Misfits and Black Flag and Queen. I'm like, but until you get to the Black Parade, they don't sound like Queen.
I mean, Queen is clearly an influence on Frank Iero.
Yeah, his guitar playing. But what else do they say? Their influences are just like, what? No, you don't sound like that. Oh yeah, they say their influences are Queen, Misfits, Black Flag, Iron Maiden, The Cure, Joy Division, Bauhaus, Susie and the Banshees, and the Smiths. They don't sound like any of those
I'm
bands.
sure that they like all those goth bands. I'm sure those are some minor influences, but no, they don't sound like those bands. I mean, this record is like, yeah, it's like you said, it's New Jersey fast pop punk with some metalcore riffs and a little bit of the early 2000s screamo.
I mean, I even hear a little bit of like Alkaline Trio and some of the guitar parts, and even in that music video for Vampires, they're all wearing suits, and it was just wearing like corpse paint sort of around their eyes, and it's like, oh, you guys are just ripping off Alkaline Trio. Good morning. Frank Iero cites the punk band Lifetime as a big influence. So there you go. There's their real influence, not the trendy. We like to borrow imagery from goth bands.
Yeah, I mean people always do that. They always make the mistake. Anything that has like a horror bent is gonna be compared to the Misfits just because.
Yeah, because they're wearing a costume.
Yeah.
So I looked at something, and apparently Gerard Way like hated the term emo. I saw it in here. Let's see if I can find. Gerard Way has publicly rejected the term emo, describing the genre as fucking garbage. Well, they're all just copying what you're doing, asshole.
Yeah. I mean, is he saying that like about like their peers or what? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you saying Braid and Jimmy Eat World are garbage?
Yeah.
Because I got news for you. Or are you just talking about the misuse of the word emo again? And you're just talking about your contemporaries? Because I could kind of agree with that. But at the same time, they're just ripping you off. So
yeah. I've seen people make a comparison with early My Chemical Romance to Mineral a little bit. I get it in little places on this record. I think maybe it might be a little more prominent on the next one. But if you think of like latter day Mineral and their faster stuff, I can kind of see that.
That's odd. People also say that Gerard Way looks like Billy Corgan.
He does.
Yeah, he looks just like him. And they apparently modeled their career after Smashing Pumpkins, which I guess I could kind of see that.
How so? Because that doesn't make sense to me. Because Smashing Pumpkins is Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
And some other people who are better musicians than him.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I don't know. What does that mean?
But like generally, Billy Corgan wrote all the Smashing Pumpkins songs.
Yeah.
And everybody else just came up with like the really good parts.
Yeah.
Like
let's see if I can find.
I mean, yeah, you could say like if they structured the band so that Gerard is like, but he's the front man. Like the front man is always the main guy in the band. It's always like the spokesperson or the one in the interviews.
So I found this article on the Wayback Machine on musicpicks.net and an interview with them, which is so weird. Who is Music Picks and how did they get to score an interview with My Chemical Romance? So their question is, the music industry is cluttered with hot new bands that then fade away. Case in point, Smashing Pumpkins. We think you guys are a close match. They even have a vampire tune. How do you feel about that comparison? Okay, hold on. What? Hot new bands that then fade away? Smashing Pumpkins?
Smashing Pumpkins had like a 10-year career. Like
they had a ton of hits. What are they talking about?
They're an old band. They're not still together, so they faded away.
Unless you were just literally saying there's a new band and then they're not new and then they stop making music.
The trajectory of all bands.
Oh, okay, whatever. And then so he says the funny thing about the Pumpkins is it's one of me and Mickey's favorite bands of all time. I mean, and then Music Pick says,
see that, yeah.
So we're on the mark.
Oh,
sure. Gerard says you're on the mark, and it actually goes even further than that. There's nothing contrived about this band, but at the same time, yeah, there's plenty contrived about this band.
Yeah.
A lot of things are planned in advance. We think about the future a great deal. In fact, when we made our first record, I had patterned our career off the Pumpkins because they were able to do such free and artistic music. I wanted Revenge to be our Siamese dream, though. If you listen to Gish, it's a band that's discovering themselves. There are some self-indulgent elements to it. There's a little bit all over the place. There's a little acid rock. If you listen to our first record, it's the same way. It was a little self-indulgent, but there's some stuff happening all over the place.
Yeah.
You're really not sure what to focus on. By the time Siamese Dream came out, they had harnessed that into something that could connect with a much broader audience.
So they intentionally tried to make a scattered record where they just wanted to see what would stick. I mean, I guess that's not a terrible idea. Like, let's just try all of our ideas and then whatever resonates most with people is the direction that we'll go in.
Oh, here we go. We wanted to pattern that in a way off Siamese Dream of what they're done. Like the next record is patterned off of Melancholy on the next phase of our careers. And I could see that. It doesn't sound like Melancholy, but it is. The Black Parade is definitely as ambitious as well, Melancholy. Well, maybe not. There's way more music on Melancholy, but
way too much
more theatrical.
Music on Melancholy.
More theatrical.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
I guess.
Yeah,
I think he's just revising their history though by saying, "Oh no, we made a scattered record on purpose."
I mean, I don't. Maybe after that record they were like, well, let's try and focus. And he was probably pointing. They were probably pointing to Smashing Pumpkins to be like, look at how they settled into their groove. You know.
Yeah.
I could see that, but it could also just be like, what am I gonna do with this interview question? All right.
We have songs about vampires. That hot new band that faded away. I mean, Smashing Pumpkins' influence is still felt today compared to My Chemical Romance. Though I guess My Chemical Romance is still felt today and a scene that we have nothing to do with. But
yeah, it's an interesting question, and it kind of ties into a conversation that Katie and I were having about, the the lasting impact of art, of music in general, of individual artists. Are the classics, are they as influential because they're really that good, or because that's all that broke through? Versus, what will stand today when you have access to everything. And that's kind of an interesting thing. Is My Chemical Romance a band that will be 30 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, be regarded as like a lasting and impactful band? Like a genuinely influential band, and not just like a band that was pretty good for their time and were really popular or whatever.
Well, I don't know, because
the thing, it's interesting. Like the thing about emo is that emo and that kind of post-hardcore stuff, it has carried on much in the way that a lot of 80s rock and hair metal did, to where it stuck around for so long that it became a joke. And so now only like really backwards, corny people are like still into it, and they still really cling to it. Like, are still dressing that way, and So is it possible? Is it possible to ever really reclaim that sound? Will people come around to that? Will it have its nostalgia cycle?
Will people think of My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy the same way we think about Motley Crue and Poison now?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Pretty good for its time, but maybe not really that influential.
Didn't age well.
Yeah. Something that you can understand why people enjoy it, and you might like it yourself, but
I don't know.
Not important, ultimately.
I am curious to see My Chemical Romance's impact, because I do think people will say that about Fall Out Boy, unfortunately, but they're a much worse band than My Chemical Romance, but
yeah,
their impact was much bigger, and in fact are still around, whereas My Chemical Romance is not together anymore. Didn't they reunite but then broke up again or something like that?
Yeah, they
didn't put out any new music though. It was just but like, who talks about any of these albums? The only album I feel like anybody talks about is what, the second one, what, 3 Cheers, is that what it's called? I don't know anybody who really talks about Black Parade anymore, other than people who were there when it came out and who liked it then.
Yeah.
And nobody cared about the last album, with the Fabulous Killjoys or something like that. To be honest, I think Gerard Way's lasting impact is going to be his comic book writing.
Yeah, that's possible.
Umbrella Academy is pretty big as far as creator-owned comic work goes. He's done work for Marvel. I don't know if he's done any DC work. And he's not a bad writer.
Well, he was. He was even working on comic books back in the beginning of My Chemical Romance. I mean, he had like a comic book about vampires that didn't go anywhere, but like it didn't get published, but he was working on it. So like he was definitely always trying to write comics.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he just started doing, which is why that song about vampires is about vampires.
Yeah.
Because he was writing a vampire comic. So let me ask you this. Let's see. When this album came out, it was 2002. I don't think we became aware of them until the second album.
Yeah.
I don't think this album went like gold, but it went gold like later and off the back of
their more successful albums, yeah.
Yeah. So 3 Cheers came out. What year was that? 2004. Okay. So I would have been like, I graduated in 2005.
I mean,
so yeah, I would have been 16, 17.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have noticed 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge coming out, but I definitely did notice them, you know, as that album got more popular and they got more popular. I mean, you saw like the music video for Helena and
yeah, I
I'm
guess
Not Okay, you know.
It wasn't so much in 2004 when the album came out, but it was probably that period between 3 Cheers and the Black Parade is when you really became aware of My Chemical Romance. And
man, I really thought there was something between 3 Cheers and No, There's Life on the Murder Scene.
That's a live album.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I really thought there was something else between 3 Cheers and Black Parade.
Nope.
Wow.
They just, I don't know, I think 2005 they blew up essentially, and they've got their videos played on fucking MTV and Fuse and
yeah.
But do you remember how much we hated emo and like My Chemical Romance and
yeah, I mean all of that stuff.
What was that? What was that hatred?
I don't know. I felt like some of it was like obligatory metalhead shitting on emo. Like,
yeah,
I do think maybe there was some subconscious aspect of it that was like a macho thing.
That's what I was thinking. Was it toxic masculinity just being like, no, emo's lame because they talk about their feelings and
it's
shit.
Girl music.
Yeah. So
I never really consciously thought of it in that way. And
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
We were into
metal and metalcore and stuff like that. So there's always been that macho toughness. Like at the same time, like I never felt attracted to those genres of music because of that.
No.
Generally just liked the sound of it. So I don't know. Yeah, I think to some extent there was just like that. You felt obligated to hate it because it wasn't
Yeah.
what you liked. I don't know.
I remember a friend gave me a copy of Saves the Days through being cool, and around that same time, I started to get into Coheed and Cambria, and I distinctly remember telling my ex-girlfriend at the time, I'm into emo now.
You had your heart broken, so you had to get into emo. Yeah, it was definitely a conversation. Like, oh, actually, I like emo now.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I remember. You remember that too?
Yeah.
I mean, again, what I'm describing isn't even necessarily emo. Coheed and Cambria are like a prog rock band, and Saves the Day are like a pop punk band. Like, but it's
you got into like Alkaline Trio and
yeah. So, but I remember it was a big deal that I wasn't listening to just metalcore, and in all reality, metalcore was just as cheesy and as fake as.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a bunch of goofy shit too. I mean,
yeah.
And it
trying to be brutal, BR00 TAL.
And being into like the way that we were into like other extreme and experimental styles of metal, it was just like, isn't this smart? Like just like snobby and just douchey. Like I don't know. I
mean, that's what every like late teen, early 20-year-old does, though.
Yeah.
They get kind of snobby with their musical taste.
I'm just thankful we got into the earnesty of punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think of this album?
You know, I didn't hate it overall. Like, I enjoyed most of it. There were some songs and parts that were like, right, that's enough. But,
well, a lot of the songs are way too long.
Yeah.
So, there's 2 songs that are over 5 minutes long, and another one that's over 6 minutes long, and another one that's over 4 minutes. It's like, there's too many songs that are too long. Like, shorter songs. But yeah, there were a couple songs I liked, like Drowning Lessons. I genuinely think it might be the best song on the album. Lifetime Save the Day types New Jersey punk, but there's like a few moments of like Alkaline Trio and Coheed type riffs that I liked. I didn't hate his vocals. I don't know. I didn't hate it like I thought I would. My theory on actually really liking it didn't come true either.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I sampled a little bit of 3 Cheers, and I think that's the better album. Like, it's the more cohesive piece of, record with a sound that's not just Queen ripoffs.
Yeah, I mean, even with a little bit of that bigger rock Queen influence, I think a song like I'm Not Okay is actually genuinely a good song.
Yeah. Helena's not bad.
But at this point, I'm not gonna go back and get into My Chemical Romance.
No, why would you?
Yeah, it's not that enjoyable to me. It's kind of just, it's interesting to reevaluate a band that you very intensely disliked and wore it as kind of like a badge of honor to be like, I hate emo.
Yeah, I wish I could go back in time and just kind of tell myself like, hey dude, chill out, cool it.
Masculinity is a prison. Yeah.
Just like what you like. If you don't like it, you don't have to talk about how much you hate it. I feel like we talked about as much stuff we didn't like as we did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every nerdy music fan goes through that period. So I don't know. Yeah.
Now, at the same time,
I'm definitely mellowed out in terms of like my reaction to things that I don't enjoy. I'm kind of just like, I don't like that. Whatever. But at the same time, like I'm also like my patience for bullshit is like, nope. Like I can make a decision very promptly. Like, nope, don't like it.
Yeah.
Just like, I know where this goes, not into it.
Yeah. Now, it's very weird, because I was looking at all the Rate Your Music reviews for this album, and there were so many that were just, like, rave reviews for the My Chemical Romance. Like, it's just like, okay, you're wrong to be this in love with it. I was wrong to hate it as much as I did back then.
Yeah, this record is, and from an objective, critical standpoint, it is scattered. Mm-hmm. It's a band trying to find their sound.
Yeah.
Those are very, very fair assessments of it. And it's not like it's even like any of the different things that they were trying to do are necessarily bad in themselves. It's just that a lot of it doesn't gel.
Yeah.
There's just like occasional parts in songs where you're just like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? Why do they have so many parts in these songs?
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that especially in the Honey, This Mirror Isn't Big Enough and Vampires both just had like too many parts to it. It's like, what are you doing? And then even like Drowning Lessons is like 4 minutes long, and the last minute's like a different song. So it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Cool it. Pick an idea and go with it. You're not a prog rock band. You're not even playing the songs like you are. So, I don't know. Yeah, I found this little thing on Rate Your Music. It says, MCR's music is what happens when you bring together old school thrash metal, hardcore and post-hardcore punk, British indie from the 80s, mainstream 90s emo, and pop from whatever age. So all music.
Yeah. So there's literally a little bit of every single style of rock music since the 70s.
Also, there's no old school thrash metal on here.
No.
At all.
Yeah, there's melodic death metal riffs on a couple songs. That's it.
On these pop punk songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you give it?
3.
Yeah, that's where I was landing.
I was kind of just like
solid.
I enjoyed it, listening to it.
Very little I outright disliked.
Yeah.
I was more just more irritated by the songwriting than the songs themselves. It's just corny.
Yeah.
It's as corny as Gerard Way's little corn teeth.
That's so mean.
He prominently displayed them.
Yeah. You can make fun of my teeth. It's fine.
He's a white.
You're
rich
the
dude.
one who.
I mean,
you're the one who got braces, so you're the one who's punching down.
I still have a gap in my teeth.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wear a retainer for like life, pretty much, to keep that from coming back.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Katie makes fun of my wife. Katie makes fun of Christina Hendricks for having baby teeth.
She does.
And she's beautiful. She's objectively beautiful. Like I'm not trying to tear her down. It's just she's got little baby teeth.
It is funny to see adults with small teeth. You're just like, huh? What happened there?
Yeah.
You grind in your sleep?
Yeah. I mean, mine are big and crowded, and so
yeah,
it's fine.
Mine are flat all the way across. They're all the same level. Yeah. It's kind of weird.
You have like a cartoon character's teeth. Just like straight lines. Just like a grid.
Oh, yeah. My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Bromance.
My Chemical Peel Bromance.
Well, do we want to move on to our EP? We deep dived on My Chemical Romance in early 2000s emo, so let's take another look.
Let's take a swipe at this one, because to be honest, this one actually kind of annoyed me more. So we got number 5 on the EP charts. It's Death from Above 1979 and their debut EP, Heads Up.
La cocaína is not good for you.
Heads up. It sucks.
Heads up. Yeah, it does, right? Like, okay. They're from Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know what that means. Don't alienate our Canadian audience.
We should ask our friend. I'm sure he'll say, yeah, that makes sense, too.
Yeah, I should have thrown this by him. I don't know why I didn't think about that. But came out on Ache Records, who released Hot Hot Heat.
What?
And Hella.
What? Okay, Hella makes
remember?
sense. Hot Hot Heat?
Yeah, Ache Records put out Hot Hot Heat. Were they a Canadian band? Is that what?
Maybe. I mean, Ache Records is a Canadian label from Vancouver. It was started by Andy Dixon.
Yep, Hot Hot Heat were also from British Columbia.
Who played in some bands, nobody well known, but... Oh,
Yeah. They put out Fortet and Hella and
weird.
Death. Yeah, I don't know what the deal with Hot Hot Heat is. Weren't they like a real bad band? Like...
Well, yeah, they weren't they like a Strokes, Hives, like, kind of thing? With maybe like a little more butt rock?
Yeah, I think so. That's my impression of them. I remember them being on the radio.
Yeah.
Didn't they have some beef with Hot Water Music?
Is that...
Or am I just...
Or is that imagined?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or
Hot
were you
Hot
turned
Heat.
off from Hot Water Music initially because you thought they were Hot Heat?
Oh, that would suck so much. If people thought Hot Water Music was Hot Hot Heat, and that's why they didn't try and
Well,
get
if
into
you
them.
listen to Caution, you might have thought so.
Yeah. Oh, well. So, the personnel on the album is...
No, I hate this place. I love these chords. The only decipherable lyrics.
Yeah. Like most Hot Water Music songs.
Yeah.
So the personnel on this Death from Above 1979 album is Sebastian Granger on drums and vocals and Jesse F. Keeler on bass. And it was recorded by Al Puodzukis. Whatever. He was in Mr. Craft, that band that MSTRKRFT. Like, there's some like electronic thing. So they were just a two-piece band. That drum and bass thing, that I guess was this that like started the trend of the two-man garage rock band, like your White Stripes, Black Keys, Japandroids.
Yeah, I mean, it falls into that that category. I don't know if it's the originator of it. I don't know. I mean, the Carpenters were just a two-piece.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But it's definitely that. It's that thing.
Yeah, it's real fuzzy. which Japan Droids definitely borrowed from. But Japan Droids also wrote better songs, so
Yeah, Japan Droids were definitely catchier.
yeah, they made some melodies.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like all these songs sound exactly the same.
it's very much a noise rock. Like, trying to think of bands to compare it to, like almost like an Albatross or Melt Banana a little bit.
I don't know.
Well, in terms of like pretty much just playing the same riff repeatedly, the same really
Yeah.
short riff repeatedly for like 2 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
just super fuzzed out. And
There's some moments that kind of remind me of Queens of the Stone Age. Like, I guess it's the type of distortion that they used on some of those riffs.
yeah,
Little stoner rockish. I feel like there's one song on there that even reminded me of that band Priestess. Do you remember them?
yeah, Queens of the Stone Age Light.
Yeah, they played with Queens of the Stone Age. No, they opened for Boris. That's when I saw them play.
I saw them open for Mastodon.
Oh, that's what it was. It was Mastodon. Yeah, it was just like this. There's a specific band I'm thinking of, like like Wolf Mother, like that kind of pretend stoner rock.
Yeah.
It's like fuzzed out riffs, man.
Yeah.
But they don't actually embrace the stoner metal songwriting approach.
Yeah, I mean, Death from Above is kind of like, I feel like Death from Above is kind of the archetype on which the band Sex Bomb from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is based. Just like add in extra members though, like just like super short, dumb songs.
Yeah. I
Super
found
fuzzy.
like the intros and the samples far more interesting than the actual music.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they made those or if they just were just sampling them, but I definitely liked hearing those things better than the songs.
Some of the little noodly things that they did as like intros and outros reminded me of maybe Double Nickels on the Dime by Minutemen. Some of those interlude kind of tracks. So I kind of appreciated that, but yeah, generally I did not enjoy listening to it, and I was glad that it was over and it was very short, so it really didn't take long. But they do that, and they do that thing. So like the vocals are way too overdriven. Like they're just recorded way too hot, and I know that they did that on purpose, but I hate it. Like I just don't like the way that sounds. I don't mind. Like I understand the overdriven vocal thing. Like maybe you can't sing super well, and it kind of masks some of the the rougher parts, and like it's definitely like the garage rock sound that they were going for, but yeah, it could have been reined in a lot.
I just hated that stupid robot voice on that one song. It's like a vocoder, and it's just like, ugh, this sucks. You know, it's funny. On Spotify, they have like the demo version of this EP.
Yeah, I saw that.
It sounds better than the actual album. Like, each song sounds like a distinct song, unlike the actual EP, where everything sounds exactly the same. So it's like, so you... And he didn't have that overdriven vocal effect on it either. It was just more of a regular voice. So, I don't know. I see why they released it, because they were like, this actually does sound different. And I personally think it sounded a little better. I wish they could have just taken some of those elements and just slickened them up a little bit because the production on the EP is good. It's just the effects I'm not a fan of, I guess.
Yeah, the vocals to me would have been better if they were just a little bit of grit. Like, you run them through a tube compressor, and then you add a little reverb, maybe some slapback, and that gives you like the noise and the garagey feeling without just completely muddying it out. And
yeah, I don't know what they're singing in any of these songs. Like, I don't know what those words are.
And play a guitar instead of a bass.
Yeah. Instead of playing a bass like a guitar.
You can just play a guitar, and you can run it through an octave pedal, and you'll get the low end, and you'll get the guitar, and yeah, it'll sound better than just way too fuzzy bass.
Yeah. So I was reading their Wikipedia page, and then I saw something that really jumped out at me, and it really irritated me. So they've gone back and forth on what the actual name of the band is. They started as Death From Above, and then they became Death From Above in 1979, and then when they reunited, they dropped the 1979. They went back to just being Death From Above. So they were given a cease and desist from Death From Above Records. So normally I'm like, whatever, man. Cease and desist, that's bullshit. But Death From Above Records weren't a completely unknown label. It was run by James Murphy, who is from LCD Sound System. And like that label has released LCD Sound System albums and Hot Chip albums and like not stuff I'm necessarily into, but it's well-known stuff. Like, it's not like maybe like if I called a band Fat Wreck, or
I mean, so I feel like the phrase Death From Above, like DFA Records didn't create that term. Like, they didn't come up with that phrase.
Listen to what... Okay. So when they were given the cease and desist, they posted... the band posted, "Fuck DFA Records. Fuck James Murphy. We declare jihad on them. Holy war. Ending their death and dismemberment. James Murphy is a selfish piece of fuck that will burn in the flames of a specially dedicated rock and roll jihad. If I had the resources, I would fly a plane into his skull." God damn it. And then, James Murphy, in an interview on Pitchfork in 2005, says... This is interesting. "We knew about them for a long time. The name thing wasn't a big deal. It wasn't until they signed to a major label, which wouldn't release the record until we signed off on the name. That's how this all came about. Atlantic is not going to release a record by a band with the same name as another entity in music. We spent a lot of money because we didn't just want to be total fucking assholes and just say no. We were trying to find a way for it to actually work." I was like, what the hell's wrong with Death From Above 1979? But the copyright attorney was like, no, that's not fine. And I said, if they become a totally different name and it delays their record, that's something I'm not comfortable with. So we just tried to make it work as well as possible. So apparently their lawyers wanted them to change it even more than adding the 1979. And also, so what if you add 1979 to your name? It kind of makes your name stand out a little more, I could imagine a lot of shitty hardcore bands with the name Death From Above, And it sounds like it was just a label thing. Like, Atlantic wasn't going to release it just in case. I don't know.
So, hold on, there's someone at my door.
There's somebody at the door.
So they're supposed to fix my hot water today.
Nice.
So I'm trying to parse through this article really quickly, because this is something that I wish I'd maybe read before. Yeah, so Death From Above seems to have some pretty sexist sexy. Not sexy. Sexist lyrics. I'm kind of skimming this whole article that's pretty much alleging, like, yeah, Death from Above are like a men's rights.
Oh,
fucking
fuck.
band.
Really?
Not really. So, like, they're not, like, outwardly so, but she's kind of just, like, assessing their lyrics and the way they've talked and acted. And there was some sort of, like, weird, like, alt-right, Proud Boy, association with the band.
Oh, gross.
And I want to find the root of that, like...
Well, it says their label was Vice. Did Vice have a record label at one point?
Yeah, so I think they have some sort of connection with that dude from Vice who started the Proud Boys. So Gavin McInnes claims Jesse Keeler as a Proud Boy in an article. And Jesse
Jesus
Keeler
Christ.
supposedly had attended election night party with Gavin and other Proud Boys. That's all pretty well documented. He's been a regular guest on Gavin McInnes' podcast, which, yeah, is kind of like a Proud Boy recruiting podcast. But, so apparently, like, he's been on to talk about pro-gun issues, and they've talked about crypto anti-immigrant subjects.
Jesus Christ. Ugh.
I really wish we
I
had
wish I'd known that
stuff
shit
before.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bothered. We would have just said outright no and not done this one. Fuck.
So, and I'm trying to see where he made a statement. This is really long.
Here's a statement from Death from Above's Facebook page.
That's what I'm looking at. I would never join the group. My connection to Gavin, however, is real, but begs to be clarified. He met him as a founding member of Vice magazine. We made friendly. So basically, he's just kind of like defends himself as being like, I knew him back then, and just kind of tried to give him the benefit of the doubt for like maybe his edgy comedic leanings. He says that I have always been anti-war and anti-violence. That is my baseline position. As far as immigration and nationalism, I am the child of an Indian mother and a Canadian father. I was raised in Canada by my immigrant Indian family who struggled to make it in a new country. So he is mixed race. Something that
doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
think that when you get called out for something like that, you need to straight out, like, yeah, you need to condemn that person. Like, I think his response is still too soft.
He's like, he's my bro.
Yeah, and he should have been like,
I disagree.
You know
with
what?
him.
I was wrong. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I, wanted to keep talking to him out of morbid curiosity, but I shouldn't have done that, and I shouldn't have been on his podcast and things like that. Like, he should have. That statement is not very satisfying.
He said something about he never wanted to get political.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that's an issue too. People who refuse to get political.
Well, so like I can understand it from an artistic perspective to be like, to say I don't feel equipped to write political music.
No, you don't have to write political music.
But yeah, you should use your platform. And you should know that being publicly seen and associated with nationalists, white nationalists, is a bad thing. And you should immediately shut it down and be like, look, dude. Yeah. So fuck Death from Above. Yeah. Their music sucks. Their lyrics are sexist. And they're too chummy with fucking Proud Boys. And I wish I knew all that before we started recording this podcast.
Yeah, because now I may not tag them on the episode title because I don't want people to. What do you think? What should I do? Should I tag them? Say fuck it? Okay.
Just title it.
Okay.
Fuck Death from Above.
Oh, yeah. In the show description, it'll probably be something, where I'll say, oh, we covered the 2002 album My Chemical Romance, like, blah, blah, blah. And the fucking Proud Boys, Death from Above.
Are we gonna get slander allegations?
Oh, fine.
I mean, he's not officially a Proud Boy, so we can say that. And
okay, we can call them pieces of shit. That's not. You can't sue somebody for slander over that. So.
Defamation of character? I don't know. Honestly, we're just pointing at facts and we're giving our editorial opinions on very weak statements that attempt to refute the. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, fuck that band.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. What? Give them a rating? Nah, I don't even want to give them a rating. 0 out of 5. Yeah. Fuck them.
Yeah. Ugh. We got bamboozled. The thing is, like, that band has been so praised forever. Like, they're...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tons of people love that band.
I want to link to this. I'll send you the link. You can post it on or something. I want to link to the article that I was reading that sent me on this research. It's titled something like "Why Death from Above's Recent Alt-Right Controversy Shouldn't Have Come as a Surprise." I'd like to dig more into that article and read it, but in full. But yeah. Gross. Ew.
Yeah. Fuck that shit. Yeah, cool. Well,
next week.
It's fun whenever we find out things on the show. All right, so
yeah, we pick our bands and then we announce them before we've had a chance to research them.
Yeah, so unless it's common knowledge, like the Escape the Fate
we need
guy,
to like Google the band name and controversy first.
Yeah, from now on. Yeah. So, okay. Next week and the week after, we're going to actually break format a little bit, and we're going to do our best of 2018. We're going to do a top 10, and we're going to break it up into 2 episodes, because otherwise we'd have a 2.5 hour long episode. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll do a top 10. We'll do 10 through 6 next week, and then 5 through 1 the week after, and we'll just alternate back and forth our picks. Yeah. And yeah, I think it'll be fun. This is something that I love doing every year. Is making my lists. I love it so much that I keep a running list of everything I'm listening to throughout the year, and I've been doing that for a couple years now. It's gotten to the point where I don't listen to much old music because I'm so focused on new music all the time that I don't listen to a ton of older stuff. Usually at the beginning of the year is when I listen to mainly the older stuff because there's less new music at that point, but starting in like October, I'm usually just only on the albums that came out that year, because there's so much music. But yeah, and then we'll do 2 episodes and then we'll be back on format after that. So you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're at punklautopod. Our Facebook is punklautopod/ facebook.com/punklautopod. Email is punklautopod@gmail.com. And we have a website. It's punklautopod.simplecast.fm. Anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I mean, that covers it.
Yeah.
Fuck Death from Above 1979.
Hey, Mark. Like the cartoon?
Oh, You did?
Yeah, it's meant to be me and Barbara from personnel, right? And she's handing me this heart of holiday pay, but in the heart it's just...
Race hate?
Exactly. That's so Barbara. She's such a racist.